Hi everybody, it's Joaquin Castro, Congressman for San Antonio, and I just left along with Congressman Greg Casar and our members of our staff, Dilley, that Dilley trailer prison that everybody's been watching, the place where Liam Ramos was and then was released, the place where they're trying to send him back to apparently. But a lot of folks have been asking me and wondering, what is DHS going to be like? What is ICE going to be like? What is Dilley going to be like under a new DHS Secretary? Now, Kristi Noem, of course, is gone, and Mark Wayne Mullen is a Secretary of DHS, and I served with him on the Intelligence Committee when he was in the House of Representatives before he went over to the Senate. And I'll say this, today's visit was very different from what I've gone through before. This is my fourth time this year, since January, going to Dilley. And now Washington is literally controlling just about every word that comes out of the mouth of the people who work at Dilley. Even Greg Abbott's Texas National Guard couldn't answer questions unless they're approved and sent over to Washington and looked over by the ICE executives in Washington. And so before, we would ask questions, they would try to give us the answers as best as possible. If they didn't have answers, they try to track down the information. This time, they literally pulled out a script in different rooms. So in the cafeteria, in the medical area, in the library, in our initial meeting, they're literally reading, the ICE people are reading from a script, and they told us Washington sent us talking points. Literally, not just talking points, like talking points are bullet points. This was literally a script, kind of like a propaganda script about the place. But it was very creepy. It was creepy because they were all reading from the script, but then also we go again into places like the library and there's nobody in there. Right? This is a place with a lot of kids, young people, adults. Nobody's in the library. We go into the cafeteria. Nobody's in the cafeteria, even though it was getting close to lunchtime. And they said, they're going to be there, in a little bit. But it matches up with what people detained there have told us, which is when members of Congress go, the place gets locked down. And people that want to meet with us, even though we did meet with some folks, ICE doesn't go out of its way to tell people, hey, look, there's these members of Congress coming on this oversight visit and they want to meet with the people detained here. And so they have to find out by word of mouth what's going on. So under the new DHS Secretary, this place has become more secretive. It's controlling information. It's basically reading off propaganda scripts. And they're refusing to answer questions unless we put and not only Democratic members of Congress, but Republican members can attest to this as well. You send questions over to the executive branch, and then either you never get an answer, or you get an answer in like 4 or 6 months. And so I'll let you know how that goes when we submit these questions. But some very disturbing things, y'all. Again, different issues. Medical issues. When I went a few months ago, I talked about this family that included kids and a 5-year-old who needs a lot of dental work and has otherwise. All right, I think we're back. We're going through rural Texas, so the connection's a little tough. But this 5-year-old girl, has waited months now. She and her family have been in there for 10 months. She's waited months experiencing painful dental issues and still has not gotten treated. I brought it to their attention again. So same thing, but those are the kinds of stories that we're hearing. And I told them today, like, if you guys know that somebody's having these very painful issues and you're not doing anything about it, you're basically torturing somebody. Really, at some point you're torturing somebody, and especially a 5-year-old girl who's done nothing wrong. They're torturing this girl by not giving her the treatment that she needs and then prescribing ibuprofen for 2 months straight. So again, there are these deep medical issues. There was another young man, I believe, that had blood in his stool and they gave them laxatives, right? So improper medical treatment. People, when they do get to go see a doctor outside the facility, they're waiting months to be able to do that. And, so all of these very terrible medical issues and lack of medical treatment. And then, just a very hostile place over there in many ways. Look, they said that some of the people that work there, and it's true, like some of the people that work there are nice to the folks, right? They are nice to the people there. But there's some people that are also cruel. There were two families that said that there was a woman there that called them mojados. Now, mojado in Spanish, obviously, but it's a slur, really a slur for Mexicans. It means wetback, right? So she's calling them this ethnic slur, wetback, and that same person apparently had called another family spics. And so they filed a complaint with, Core Civic, I guess, who manages or operates the place. And so that woman, obviously, that situation is being reviewed right now. But that's the kind of hostility that these folks are having to deal with as well. And then I wanted to tell you a story that kind of, because I'm from San Antonio, and there's people there who were picked up off the street from different places in the country. There are folks there that my staff and I met from Los Angeles, from Buffalo, from Dallas, from Miami, from all of these cities across the country. But there's a father and a son who are there from San Antonio. And so for the San Antonians, they're going to know the area that I'm talking about and all that. So this young boy is 10 years old, and he was a student at Thousand Oaks Elementary. And his dad worked at Bill Miller's. The Bill Miller's at Thousand Oaks and Jones Maltzberger, so up in that 281 corridor. And his dad was a cook, among other things, at Bill Miller. For those of you that don't know Bill Miller is like a chain barbecue place in San Antonio and around South and Central Texas, but originally based in San Antonio. He was working at Bill Miller, and one morning after he had come home, he'd been home from work, at about 4:30 in the morning, ICE agents came to their house. They got his dad, they handcuffed his dad, and his dad went into this boy's room and was, because the dad had a girlfriend who was also taken in. She'd been taking care of his son while he was at work. So they go into the boy's room and the boy's asleep, and his dad tries twice and wakes his son up. And the boy wakes up to a room full of ICE agents all around him. And, obviously he's in a panic and shocked because he doesn't know what's going on. And he sees his dad is in handcuffs, and then ends up at the Dilley trailer prison with his dad. And he and his dad, they were under temporary protective status. They're from Venezuela, and they had temporary protective status. And now there they are at this Dilley trailer prison. And then the boy said that I believe yesterday that they had both gone in front of a judge together, and that the judge threatened them. The judge told the boy that basically, it gave them different options, but suggested that if they didn't go back, like if they didn't agree to be deported, that he was going to deport his dad and he was going to leave the boy in this prison. So there, like I've said, there's systemic cruelties that go on both within the legal immigration judge part of all this, obviously inside of these facilities with the guards, like I said, one of those hall guards that call these people wetbacks, all the way to the cruelty from the top. And now under this new DHS Secretary, like this creepy secrecy that's being imposed. I mean, really, like I wish that y'all had been there to see like these grown adults who have answered our questions before, who are not from Washington, although they sent some people from Washington to monitor what was going on. They're having to sit there or stand there with a piece of paper and read the piece of paper to myself and to Greg and to the members of our staff. So just, it makes me feel like this is a new era of secrecy at DHS. Also, we've been keeping track of how many people are still at Dilley. And we had gotten down to 100 family members, right? Members of families that are there. That number is now up to, I believe, about 138. So it's gone from about 100, 102 to 138. And remember, we've been describing to you the cruelty, the fact that these are innocent people, no criminals, that they shouldn't be in this prison. Our goal is to close Dilley down. So even though the number has ticked up, I hope that you all will keep raising your voice, keep speaking up, because you see how folks who haven't committed any crime are being treated. They're often being treated horribly. They're being treated inhumanely. But your voice makes a difference, and it matters. And so I wanted to give you all that update. This was the third visit this week. Dilley is under ICE, but earlier in the week I visited a facility in San Antonio that was holding a 15-year-old boy, held him for 5 months, under 15 years old, even though they could have released him to his mom, who was living in San Antonio. He was picked up in that San Antonio raid. Yesterday, I was down in the Rio Grande Valley in San Benito at the center where they are keeping, this facility where they're keeping pregnant teenage girls, and reported back to y'all, gave you an update about what's going on there. Today, for this week, was my last visit to Dilley. And again, under this secretary, it looks like things may be getting worse. That the treatment may be getting worse, the secrecy may be getting worse. So please, y'all, keep speaking up. The only folks that are going to turn this around are the American people, by speaking up resoundingly against this. All right? So we'll be in touch soon. Take care, y'all.